Good morning, my co-pilots. So hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving, and I hope you all did some shopping on Black Friday and got what you wanted to get. Hope y'all had some awesome deals. Today we are going to discuss a topic that's been on my mind, as a couple of people have asked me, especially back in the States, regarding inflation and the prices of R34s and so on and so forth. So the first thing we're gonna do is get in a more appropriate setting than this, walking through a quiet neighborhood on a, what's today, Monday, Tuesday morning. So that's our first order of business, and you guys already know what we have to do before we kick this video off. Well, this is one of the first things. So many different choices. Gotta love Japan. Even the most random bland sign has a FD2 CTR has their little illustration. That's pretty cool. You know, I don't know what it is, guys. I don't know why every time when I go somewhere, I'm just destined to not find a Family Mart, or a Family Mart is always on the other side of the street. There's always 7-Elevens and Lawson's and those kind of stores, but there's just never a Family Mart on the way. Oh, Altetsa. But there's never a Family Mart directly on the way to where I'm going, and it's so annoying. Finally made it to Family Mart. Go in here and get lunch real quick. May have went a little crazy. Hey guys, so we're in a more suitable location, we're in our element, and today's topic is this car, as the title says. So I wanted to address a question that I've been asked quite a bit. Why would you get in a automatic R34 when there's so many better ones out there? There's turbo models, there's the GTR model, there's the ENR34 model, which that car is extremely rare. All it is it's a non-turbo GTR, has a Tesla ETS. But we're gonna address that today, and we're gonna go over a couple of different reasonings as to why I chose this particular car when it's absolutely nothing special. And for the time when I bought this car, it was dirt cheap because nobody wanted them, and now the R34 market is creeping up. And some of the reasons that I actually went with this car have actually disappeared now over the past 3 years that I've had it, due to the market increasing and the value on these things going up. Because that was actually one of my reasons for getting this car, is because it was cheap and parts were easy to get for it. And if I smashed something on this car, I wouldn't really care as much because it was very, very easy to replace parts. But now that's not really so much the case. But anyways, with that being said, let's jump into it. I decided against keeping any of my previous GTRs or getting a more OEM based one to start my own build on, and focusing only on this one, is because this car allows me to fully express myself and to do the build to the fullest extent to my own vision, if that makes sense. I've had multiple different experiences to buy more GTRs, R32s, 33s, and 34s, but we're going to focus today on 34s because that's the topic of today. So this one here that I'll post up on the screen was posted, I believe it was summer 2015, a while ago, for around $56,000, and it's fully spec'd out. This car was a beast. It really was, and it even says here beast alert. I really thought long and hard about this car. A friend of mine actually posted it on Facebook, and I hit him up about it, and I'm gonna blur out his name here because I don't want anybody loading him with any messages or anything like that. Then protect his privacy, of course. But yeah, he posted it up, and I asked him about it, and we went over the specs and everything, and then I actually moved into a new house around that time, and I had only had my Supra for about, let's see, it was around like what, July-ish. So I only had my Supra for about 6 months, and it was still automatic twin turbo. And I passed up this GTR because, for one, $56,000 was a lot of money back then. I mean, it was justifiable and it was doable, but at the same time, it was just bugging me that my Supra was not to the spec that I wanted it to be at yet. And I'm very OCD when it comes to car builds. I like stuff to be done before I move on to the next project, which is why this isn't started yet, because that over there is not finished yet. And once we finish that, we're gonna start on this. And I actually have some parts coming for this car that I haven't told you guys about yet. We'll get to that at the end of the video. But yeah, so I just wanted to focus on the Supra and build that into my vision and the way it is. And I wanted to do a manual swap and a single turbo, because I mean, that's what you do when you have a Supra, right? So I focused on that build, and I actually don't know if I would go back and do the same thing, just based on the market now. We knew that these cars were going to be 6 figures as they got closer to being legal to go to the States, but I didn't anticipate how much I was going to spend on that car. And anybody in the audience who has a Supra, they understand what I'm saying, especially 80s Supra. It is a money pit. It really is. I've dropped so much into that car. I've spent over $80,000 total on that car, and I only paid $4,800 for the car. So that tells you how much that I spent on that car. We're gonna do a full-fledged how much the build costs and go into more detail and do a walk around on that car when it's completed. But anyways, back on topic. So I wanted to focus on the Supra and get that to where it was in my vision before I committed to another car. So I passed that one up. The next one, this one here, was listed about 2 years ago, and I actually thought about this one as well, but I didn't go through with it just for the fact that it's a very, very expensive car, and I didn't have the resources back then that I have now. Now I have storage space, you know, I have a place at the house that I'm staying at. I didn't want to ask my people here to keep the car here, because as you guys have seen in so many videos, there's so many cars here, you know what I mean? So I just didn't know what kind of direction I would take if I ended up buying this car. I thought about getting this, or perhaps maybe a Gallardo or a 550 Maranello, because all of them are around the same price here in Japan. So, but this car was for sale for years. For years, this car was for sale, and it was definitely seen as overpriced. But I don't know. To me, it was worth it. You know what I mean? It was worth it. But I just couldn't go through with it because I couldn't justify spending that kind of money and not being here in the country to enjoy the car and not having a place for it or anything. So, and that's not the only reason. I know that might seem like a bland, boring kind of reason as to why you would not buy one of these cars, but one of the biggest factors to me not getting another GTR is I don't like how they drive. I really don't. I don't like, and it took me a while to actually admit this to myself, but when you're a car person, you have to know what you like. You know what I mean? And with all the GTRs that I've had in the past, GTRs are very, very easy to drive. They're one of the easiest cars to drive, like right there with the Evo. You know, they handle amazing, you know, and that's just not me. I like violent cars. I like very unpredictable and very unstable cars, as weird as it sounds. I just love cars that want to kill you. The ACR Viper Gen 5 is like my dream car. The ZR1 C7, that's another dream car in a manual though. The Supra is the same way. That car wants to kill you. That car is not your friend. If you ever underestimate her or think that you have her tamed, she'll take you out right there. That's what I like. I like excitement. That's one of the biggest reasons as well as to why I'm not doing a RB swap in this thing, and I'm doing a JZ swap, because RBs I don't know if it's true or not, but I hear that RB stands for response and balance. And that's not me. I am not a sophisticated person at all. And I'm not one of those people with a pen and a pad down in the lab trying to get everything right and have the best response or anything like that. I like unpredictability. Sorry, my English is not there this morning. You know, I like the R34 chassis. So that's why I'm not going with a GTR, because it's just not my cup of tea. I know a lot of people who buy these will probably tell you that as a justification as to why they're getting a ER34 over just being honest and saying they can't afford a GTR. But for me, that's the real justification as to why. I didn't go with another GTR. I've tried it multiple times because the internet and the car community told me this is the best car to ever come out of Japan, and if you have one, it's the best thing you'll ever own. And I gave into that hype, and I bought GTR after GTR, and it was nowhere near what people said it was gonna be. You know, the GTR community is a special kind of community. Everybody's very nice. Everybody's very close to each other. It's almost like a brother and sisterhood of people. And GTR owners are some of the smartest people that I've ever met. They're kind of like rotary owners. When you think of rotary owners and people who have RX-7s and stuff like that, they're very smart and very sophisticated on their builds and how they do things, and they're like the mad scientist type. And that's not me. I'm a brute. I really am. I'm a brute. I just want power, violence, and to improve as a driver. As stupid as that sounds. So, with that being closed, we're going to go on to the next reason. Alright guys, so my next reasoning for not going with a GTR is the simple fact that the GTR, let's be honest, the B&R 34 GTR is it's a halo car. It really is. A lot of us in my generation, people who are in their early 30s now, we fell in love with this car through Gran Turismo, Fast and the Furious, and Need for Speed. The basic fanboy stuff, video games, YouTube, and movies. And now that car is very unobtainable for the average Joe. And for some idiot like me who does these weird kind of builds, it just wouldn't be right for me to take a Halo car, in my opinion, and cut it up and do all these insane aero mods and take it out on the track and things like that of that nature. With this car, I would feel less guilty. To be honest with you guys, I really didn't anticipate these would go up as much as they have. It's kind of crazy that the ER34 Turbo is almost a $50,000 car now. But at the time when I bought this, I thought, you know, I can have an R34. I can build it the way I want to, since it's cheap, and not feel guilty about cutting up a Halo car. The next reasoning behind getting a R34 chassis is that, believe it or not, the sickest R34 that I've ever seen in my life was a ER. It wasn't even a GTR. And I'll put the link to my boy's channel down in the description below. If you don't know who Tokyo Tuner is, then you're living under a rock. You gotta go check out my man Ron's work. It's amazing. But my friend Takashi, he has an ER34, and we went out and filmed that car that day. And if you watch the video in the background, you could actually see a friend of mine. We're in our Supras following during the filming. At the time when we shot that video, I actually wanted an S15, and there's actually a 1J S15 over there. So go figure, right? But I actually wanted an S15, and that was gonna be my unique and out of the ordinary kind of build, because I'm in love with the lines of the S15 and everything like that. After seeing Takashi's car, I just fell in love with the R34 chassis. And I'm like, I've got to have one of those. You know, there's not very many of them out there, like he says in the video. And the R34 with the JZ engine here in Japan, that's gonna be unique. It's gonna be out of the box and out of the ordinary. So that's what I wanted to do. And a month later, we ended up picking up this. So just to recap, I picked this car because for me it is a blank sheet of paper. I'm free to do whatever I want with this car without having to worry about cutting into a Halo car that's extremely expensive, and uh, worrying about the GTR tax and things like that of that nature. And I can have the best of both worlds. I can have the R34 chassis with the violence of a Supra. That's, I mean, what more can you ask for if you like unpredictable cars like me? So guys, that's it. I mean, it's not really that exciting of an answer or anything like that. It's not really groundbreaking, but that's the reasoning behind picking this car over a GTR or anything like that. It's just that I wanted free will to be able to build and do as I please. So I hope you guys found this video entertaining. Give it a big like so we can overcome the evil YouTube algorithm. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.